We are live. Good to see you today, my EOS podcast friends. Today I have a special show. We have StartEOS. They're going to talk about their approach as a block producer and what's going on in the EOS ecosystem. This should be a really fun podcast today. We have Jerry and Monica. So Jerry and Monica, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, we are StartEOS. We come from China, the southwest part of China. We come from Chengdu. It's nice to be here today.
Well, thank you for coming on. And I usually start the show by asking, what is the most interesting or exciting thing going on in EOS today?
Okay, so there are a lot of exciting projects going on. At the early stage of the app, we could see there are a lot of gambling games. Now we could see there are more and more financial tools, security DX, and a lot of C2C DX coming out.
What's your favorite financial tool that's out right now or that's coming out?
So there a the app developed by Who Wallet. It's kind of similar to a financial tool developed by Alipay, kind of similar to that. So you could stake your use to this tool and get benefits with low risk, because currently it's bear market, so people kind of intend to use this kind of tools to secure their assets.
What was the name of the wallet? Could you repeat that?
虎符就是虎 wallet 吧？
对对对。
It's called Who Wallet, HOO wallet.
HOO wallet? Okay. Oh, I will look into that. I'll put that in the show notes for people also so that they can find it. So tell us about a little bit about StartEOS. I saw on the website that the company entered the blockchain space in 2013. So what was the journey of the company to get here?
Okay, so in 2013, so before 2017, our business is mainly focused on mining. And in 2017, our boss, Leo, he found BM's work and he got a chance to read EOS white paper. And he found it's time to transfer the business model from POW to DPoS. So our boss started StartEOS in early this year, and in April we have cooperated with a local university called it's short for UESTC, and we co-built a joint laboratory mainly focused on the development of EOS technology. We released our wallet on April 24th before the mainnet launch, and we also before mainnet launch before mainnet launch we have a lot of users snapshot their assets and created ETH accounts for them. On May 13th, we released our first version memory box.
And memory box is a cold wallet, is that right?
Yeah, it is a cold wallet.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit more about the wallet and how many users it has, and what's the demographic? Is it mostly Chinese users, or has it been adopted in the West a little bit?
So far, we have sold 8,000 to 9,000 memory box in total, and there are 3 versions of it. At the first version, it could only store up to 3 wallets. The second version, so till now, the latest version could store up to 500 wallets in total. And 80% of the users are Chinese, and there are 20 left maybe from overseas users.
Can you tell me more about the university? It sounded like you started a lab or something with the students, and is it for development?
The whole name of the laboratory is called Blockchain Technology Research and Application Joint Laboratory. And the name of the university is called University of Electronic Science and Technology of China. It's a top university in the whole China. And they are really good at computer engineer major. So far, the joint laboratory has around 40 people, including professor and the students. The joint laboratory is led by the Professor Lei Hang, who is quite famous in this industry. And we have 3 doctoral candidates, 5. So it consists of 3 doctoral candidates, 5 postgraduate students, several overseas students, and many more undergraduates. So the project the joint laboratory is working on currently is called. I'll think about it. And
That's okay. You can get back. You can get back to me.
my brain stuck.
That's okay. So are they researching, or are they doing development? Are they developing dApps on EOS, or both?
The project is a open source tool for developers, so it could get the job of developers easier, and we're gonna share this with the whole US community in 2019, which is next year.
Great. Okay. I'll put a link for the. Do you have a link for that for later?
Yeah. I could share the
Okay.
link too.
Okay, I'll put a link for the Who wallet and for the university the university tools.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So StartEOS is an entrepreneurial or a business focused block producer. So where do you think that the best opportunity for normal users to make money with their EOS? Say if someone has 1,000 EOS, what do you think the best way for them to grow that is currently? Maybe the top 3 tools to do that.
Mm-hmm. So basically, there are 3 ways to make money during the current bear market. So first, a lot of people who has less than 1,000 US tokens, they sell at a high point and buy at a low point, but there are risks in this way. So, but we suggest that the safest and the simplest way to make some money during the current market is use our wallet. We have 2 models that could help users make money. One is called a mining mode, and the other one is called Lucky Fruit Slots Machine. So people could stake their tokens into our wallet, and we will give them exactly the same amount of the tokens they stake, the same amount of the game tokens. We're gonna give them that, so they could use the game token to play the Lucky Fruit Machine, or they could use the mining mode. They doesn't need to do anything, just stake the tokens there, and these 2 ways could bring them constant income with 0 risk.
然后其实
And the third one is 我们什么时候？银行是下个月是吧？
对，下个月中旬。
In next month, we're gonna release our EOS bank functionality. So users could stake their tokens into the bank, into our EOS bank, and this could bring them higher benefits from that.
Do they choose when they stake their tokens? Do they choose to stake mining mode or for the slot machine application, or does it stake to both?
Sorry, say again.
When they stake the when they stake to the wallet, do they choose either to stake towards the mining or stake towards the slot machine? They choose one, or can they do both at this?
They could only choose one at a time.
Okay. And can you tell me a little bit? I understand. It sounds like for the slot machine, you're receiving an amount of game tokens that you can then play the slot machine and maybe win. And what's the mining mode? How's that one work?
So if users choose to use mining mode, they don't need to do any operations. They just need to set us as their proxy, and they just leave the tokens there, and will give benefits to users every day at 10 a.m. So there are one more thing that user could consider is that we have both for premium domains, premium namespaces. So we have users who bid on premium account with 1 use and sell it for 3,800 use. So people could also consider making money from doing this.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the mining mode, as far as what do you think the return, what do you think like a daily return on that would be, an estimate, if someone, a percentage?
So the annual income rate of both modes are kind of similar, around 6% each year, and the Lucky Freak machine is slightly higher than that. And the EOS Bank that we're gonna release next month, the annual income rate is around 12%.
Okay. How does that work? How do you decide the percentages, and why is the bank different from the mining? And how do you calculate?
So there are 3 ways we make money from. So in EOS Bank functionality, we have 3 ways to make money and give our users stable income. One is that after users stake their tokens to us, first thing we're gonna do is a high frequency transaction. Does that make sense?
High frequency, yes.
High frequency transaction. This is what we could do for our users. And the second one is P2P 什么？
借贷，
借贷。
数字资产抵押借贷。
借贷。
先说 CPU 啊。
Okay. And the third one is we could because we 就是用 token 很多，所以我们可以拿很多 CPU 来
租。
Because we own a big amount of EOS, so we got a lot CPU that we could lend to users, and we could make money from it. So in these 3 ways, we could get our users stable income.
Okay. Are you currently lending CPU, and are you renting it out? And how are you doing that? Did you build a platform for CPU, or are you using one of the tools out there?
We use our wallet to lend CPU to our users. That's the first thing, and we're gonna open our Rex resource exchange to users. Now it's at the test stage, and we're gonna do it in open source and get it so the whole US community could use it.
Very nice. Can you tell me more about the domain names? You mentioned that users can, you said the one user bought EOS domain name for only $1 and then resold it for more. For how much?
With 1 use and sell it with 3,800 use.
Wow, that's a lot. Okay, so how does that work, and how are you facilitating that?
So we have two ways to so there are 2 ways. So people could buy the premium domains from us with low price from our wallet, and people could also trade their own accounts in our wallet. So actually there are a lot. So the way we sell our premium domains is similar to B1's, but a bit quicker than them. 我们现在是第1名是24小时，第2名是。
是。
We could show you from our wallet app. Do you see this clearly?
Yes. Okay.
This is the first one, second one, the third one. The first one has to be there for 24小时还是？ for 24 hours. So the users could get the name, and the second one is 18 hours. The third one has to be there for at least 12 hours, so they could get there for the top three. Blockcoin, if you buy it from Blockcoin, it has to be the first, the number one, right? But from our wallet, the top three could get get account they are bidding on.
Okay, so you're almost like a secondary market. How did you attain the addresses that you have, or the names, the unique usernames that you have, or I guess they're called vanity usernames? How did you attain those?
Sorry.
How did you get so many names to be able to sell them in a marketplace?
他说 sorry, I think it get we are not actually we just bought those premium namespaces, so users could create the account themselves and bid on it.
Okay. So actually, you have a marketplace, and then users can sell their names in your marketplace. Is that right?
Yeah, buy the premium domains from us, or sell their accounts from the trading platform our wallet offers.
Okay.
There are ways to do it.
I see. And have you purchased a lot of premium domain names yourself?
Yeah, we just bought four, .com, .io, .use, and .bank. These four.
Okay, that's great. And have you been? I think that I heard that you've been also helping companies get their addresses as well. What is the story behind that, and why are you doing that?
So we haven't donated any names to any companies. It's all users who bought them, who bid on them themselves.
Oh, okay. That is so. Is that in Who Wallet, and is the trading and the mining and the slot machine, is that all in the Who Wallet?
No, it's in our wallet, StartEOS wallet.
Oh, okay, and the StartEOS wallet. Okay.
Yeah. The Who wallet is the one who has Who wallet 是什么来着？
Oh, that was the wallet you mentioned in the beginning. Okay.
Yeah, it's not our wallet.
Okay. Wow. Well, you have a lot of good tools in there to make money. I like that. That's cool. I'm gonna check that wallet out. The StartEOS wallet, of course. Can you tell me a little bit about games.eos and what games you are developing currently, and how far along you are?
So the game is under development right now, and it's going to be released in February next year during Chinese Spring Festival. It's a Three Kingdom themed SLG game, and we could share the photos and videos later to you. And it's also a mobile game. And we think this game in the game you could stake your use to buy items and tools that you could use in the game. And if you don't want to play it anymore, you could get it refunded anytime. And if you win any coins in the game, you could also use the game coin to buy item or sell it to use use, or to BTC or ETH, USDT. You could just sell the items to get other cryptocurrencies. So all the data is on the blockchain because it's transparent, and people could totally trust us. And except this game, the game company we're cooperating with, they're gonna developing other games. So the game token could be useful not only in the Three Kingdom themed SLG game, also could be used to the other games they are gonna developing. And also the game tools could also be used in the different games. And in this way, we could attract more traditional users into blockchain games.
Did you say the same tools, like the same items within the game, can go from one game to the other game?
Other games, yes.
Okay. Like
game tokens.
the tokens can also like maybe your skins or like your clothes or your weapons they can go to?
Yeah，就是不管是游戏币还有那些道具都是可以互通的嘛。
是的，
Yes.
Oh wow, that's the first game that I've heard is doing that. I've heard people talk about that, but I haven't heard of some games starting to actually do that. That'll be nice.
Because we wanna use the game try to do something like IBC.
Okay. Um, when what's an SLG game? You mentioned an SLG game. What is that?
SLG
It's short for simulation game.
Okay. What's the gameplay like? Like, what can people expect? How are they playing the game?
Users could collect their own resource to build their castle, and at the same time build their own army to attack the other player to get more resource to build your castle more like stronger. Castle stronger.
Okay, that's okay. So it's actual a full game then. It's not just not just another gambling app or something like that. That's good. That's great. That's great.
The real
A real game. So I mean, it sounds like your team has done so much with the wallet and the mining, the gambling, the domain names, this game coming out. What it seems like quite an investment. How much money would you guess that StartEOS has put into building the EOS ecosystem?
So to today, the estimated number is around 100 million RMB.
Wow. Oh, 100 million, you said RMB?
Yeah, RMB.
Okay. I'll have to look at the exchange rate so that my listeners know.
我帮他算一下。
So is there I mean you've done a lot. Oh, you have the university too that I forgot to mention, the classes going on in the studies going on there. What's the future look like? And I wanted to let me slow down. First, is there anything that any big projects that we've missed that we haven't talked about yet?
So there are 3 more things we haven't mentioned yet. After mainnet launched, we have gave away a lot of free accounts for our users. That costs around 100万人民币是吧？300万人民币。So the free accounts cost us around 3 million RMB on that.
Okay.
And after that, we have staked free CPU for our users. So we have staked around 10 million CPU for the quality app developers and users. We have also done that, and we have a team, an animation team, which made a lot of videos on use, like for the newbies, like what is use, what is hot wallet, what is cold wallet, the videos like this.
With the free CPU, is that for dApp developers that you have vetted and they're very good projects, or how do you decide who to give the CPU to?
So for considering which dApp developing we stake CPU for, we check their data, like their daily active users, and what kind of projects they are working on, see if it could truly bring contributions to the ecosystem, see if it could really attract more users to blockchain to use.
What would you consider the best dApp that you are helping with CPU right now?
We think that all the dApp team we staked CPU for, they are quite excellent. We cannot say which one is the best.
Okay. Well, that's fair. So the reason I asked if there's anything else, I mean, like I was saying, you've done so much and tried to push the blockchain forward a lot. And so I wanted people to get to know your project and how much you've actually done for EOS. Before I asked why do you think there has been maybe so much worry around StartEOS and how you're approaching and your philosophy? What's the worry?
So each person have their own way to think and their own approach. We can't get all of others to like us, and we just do what we think we should do. Just making contributions to the system and to the ecosystem and attract more users into blockchain, into use. And we actually don't care much about how other people think about us. And we won't criticize them either. We just don't have much for that, because we have a lot of things going on. We just focus on what's important. So we have invested over 1,800 of our assets into use. Of course we want youth community thrive, and we want we want to bring people confidence, and so more users, so more people buy use, the price will naturally go up, and the tokens we own, the value of the tokens we own would naturally go up either. If we want to destroy the ecosystem, we're gonna lose users. The people gonna lose their faith, gonna lose their confidence. The price will definitely go down, and the money we own will definitely shrink as well. So it's a failure of us. It's a failure of us for sure. We won't do things like that. And there are one more thing we consider is that because currently the price is quite low, so people don't have much things to work on, so they're gonna find someone to point fingers to. And we also think that blockchain industry is kind of similar to the real world, and so the most contributions is offered by the 20% of the people. So people, of course, they make contributions bigger or little, but the mainly contributions is made from those 20%.
Yeah.
So one of our goals is to be one of those 20% people who makes the biggest contributions to the ecosystem.
Do you think that there's a difference between the token holders' philosophy and what they care about, and maybe the block producers' philosophy and what they care about?
So we do think there's difference between what they care of token holders and block producers. To be honest, we think the token holders, the thing they care about most is the price. But regarding to block producers and also these big whales, we care more about the ecosystem, the growth of it, and the future of it. You know, because the current price of the use, there are a lot of block producers doing it with losing money, because there are also a lot of them cannot afford the cost of servers, but they still do it. They haven't left the ecosystem because we think that we just have faith in use. We think that in 2 to 5 years, 2到5年后 sorry， 2到5年后，然后
会继续的技术会继续的引领其他社区。
In 2 to 5 years, the technology of use will still be advanced than other cryptocurrencies. So the small token holders, they care the most is the price and the benefits they could make. So today's price is around $3, but if the price drops down to $1 or $0.5, and at the same time, for example, if they could make more money from investing in Bitcoins, maybe they would just leave use and turn into BTC. But but for the producers, block producers like us, we cannot and we won't abandon use, because the amount we own is too big. We cannot sell them at once, so we cannot leave the system. We won't sell and we won't leave.
So the incentives, you're saying the incentives are aligned that you genuinely want what's best for EOS. EOS has to survive for your block producer to survive. What do you think there's some differences in how you're approaching your approach to EOS and as a block producer? What's the main difference between your approach and other block producers?
So the difference between us and other block producers is that we dare to say what we have done. So they're saying in China, like 1 day in cryptocurrency world it equals 3 to 5 months in real world. Because the technology of blockchain develops so fast that we have to catch up with it. So we are thinking we cannot use the old same approach every day. We have to change it if we need it. So for the people who has involved in EOS, we have our own style and our own approach to do things, but we share the same target, same goal. So it doesn't. So we're not saying which team is good and which team is bad. We just have the same target to fight for. So that's good.
Yeah. The way I look at it is we're given a set of rules and everyone can approach this set of code in their own way to try to push the blockchain forward. So when people say that one way is the wrong way, it's hard to say who gets to decide that. So yeah, I think it's important that we see a lot of these different approaches. What do you think? I mean, I asked before, but what do you think the controversy? Because there's controversy around how you're approaching it. Where do you think that is, and what's the difference in your philosophy that between people who think it's controversial and who don't?
So the controversial point is focused on the games.use. So actually, the reason why we have this this games.use is we wanna attract more users into US games, and the benefits we got from games.use is from the totally 100% share with all the users who has voted for this block producer. So with this approach, we have attracted a lot users out of blockchain into use, and we are doing this at this stage. We are doing this for the future of more game DApps. Not many people understand why we are doing this, but we think it's necessary to try new things, to try new approach to do this. The way we are doing this is kind of similar to BM's approach, because when he talk about some new stuff, people will doubt, oh, so are you going to leave use and to move to other chains? People will have that kind of doubt. And we also think if the whole industry stops innovation, stops creation, stop thinking new stuff, it kind of similar to this industry's death. So if people stop innovation, stop create more creation, the industry couldn't constantly evolve.
I think it's approached sometimes maybe a cultural difference. What do you think what would be the one thing that you want people to understand culturally maybe that the West is not seeing?
So actually, we don't expect all the people could understand us, because there's an old saying in China that if you expect all of people understand you, then you are only a common people. And we just we're not only doing the things we think right, and we also think of the future. We think that if in the near future, just in the next 6 months when our games is ready, when bank is ready, when people could see this, they will understand us. And maybe they could change their view on us as well. And we also just constantly doing the things we think are right and get the price go up, then everyone's happy. And we're thinking, we're also thinking that what happens now is just small points in the whole, like the whole history.
Yeah.
The stages.
Yeah, that makes sense. We have a similar saying, and it's if nobody's mad at you, then you're not trying hard enough.
I see. 他们也有个就是差不多的一个，就是说如果
Yeah， 是的。
So what's the reasoning behind having Games EOS be a second block producer instead of just being part of StartEOS?
So the game.use is the we are currently cooperating with a big game company in Chengdu, and the game.use is the reason why we have it as second block producer other than have it just combining to StartEOS. The reason for that is that we want to handle the professional things to the professionals. Because we are currently developing our we have our own wallet. We are developing our bank functionality and our memory box. We don't have much more energy to develop games, and we are for sure we are not as professional as them in games. So we don't want to get influenced by their company as well. So we just have it as a second block producer. And also so currently their company has over 400 game developers. So there are another thing we want to mention that we kind of feel glad that we have these 400 game engineers into blockchain industry. It's kind of a little achievement of us.
Yeah, that's big. That's big. So it sounds like the reason is because this is a whole separate entity. Though you're affiliated, they're a different company.
对，就是原因就是他们就是跟我们是不同的公司嘛。Yes, exactly.
Okay, and I think that will hopefully, if people take time to really dig into this, the reason that I've asked so many questions is because this is important for people to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. I think part of the problem is the communication gap across the world, because we're on the opposite ends of the world from each other. I think part of it's the communication gap, and then also EOS is a low price right now. Like,
thank you for bridging. Thank you for bridging the culture gap.
Yeah, we're trying, and that's part of our motto is to bridge the gap. So we want to help with that. I had one more kind of question for you. What's your thought on sister chains, and do you only support EOS.io, or do you see an ecosystem with lots of sister chains and side chains?
So we could see a lot side chains coming out and seeing that they could solve different kind of problems. We think it's a good approach because Block One have EOS.io open sourced, so people could launch their own chains, and we don't think it's a bad competition between the sister chains or side chains and EOS. We think that these sister chains and the side chains could maybe make up the disadvantages of the mainnet, and they could also attract more users into the whole blockchain. And 最后一个是 so if
侧面的繁荣会衬托主网的繁荣。
So if those side chains and sister chains thrive, it could also get the mainnet thrive as well.
Nice. StartEOS plan to support any of the sister chains at this point, or?
So we haven't supported any side chains or sister chains yet, but we are just looking at different white papers. So we have read the white paper of BOS, and it has mentioned several problems that US may not have, but we're gonna dig more into this before we make any decision.
All right. Well, do you have any final thoughts to people who are listening to this as we start to wind down?
So our final thoughts is that no matter big whales or small token holders, no matter block producers or standby BPs, we should all stick together and just bring a good reputation of use and bring more benefits to the ecosystem, and we stick together to better promote use and let more people get to know use and understand use and enter use. So so naturally the price of use could go up. EOS is already a high efficient chain, but regarding to the communication between different block producers, between different teams, among the community, we should improve it to high efficient as well.
Yes, I agree. I agree. So we'll have to do we have to do more podcasts.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. One of the things I love about EOS is even though it spans the entire world, it's such a small community. And me in California and you in China are both working on the same thing with the same goals. We're both entrepreneurs and both, like the idea of what EOS can do. And it feels good to be working on something with the entire world and all different cultures. And it's a really beautiful thing. So I like to slow down and think about that every once in a while. So thank you so much for coming on the show, Monica. Thank you so much, Jerry, for all your thoughts. And I would love to have you on in the future.
Yeah, thank you for inviting us. It's really a pleasure to be here and talk about our thoughts and approach we have and get more people understand us. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to do this.
Yeah. Absolutely. And for people listening, this is the EOS podcast. Listen on the podcast version as well, because I don't do all my shows on just the podcast. Support the EOS San Francisco block producer, which is the block producer that we founded in San Francisco. And part of what we're trying to do is bridge the gap for everyone around the world. So hopefully doing more of these types of things. And that's it. So thanks for coming on the show, and goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
The money is not the prime asset in life. Time is, and your time is just a
Clap along if you feel